Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. I'm here for Queen & Co. today. I want to show you the brand new shaker kit for the month of August 2017. It's called Fruit Basket. It's absolutely delicious looking. You can make some phenomenal fruit shakers, everything from oranges to strawberries, lemons, and apples and more. So this is the kit right here, and it comes in this plastic pouch, and I just wanted to show you how it fits in the Envy binders perfectly. It is punched 3 times just like the binders, and you could keep all of your monthly kits in your binder that way. So this plastic flap is really nice. It keeps everything together. I have all my toppings up there and embellishments, but let's start with the dies. You get the cross section of the orange, you get the slice, that could be a lemon, a lime, or an orange, an apple, a strawberry, leaves and stems for those, and the watermelon as well. And Ginger Williams has shown how you can flip over that strawberry to make it a pear if you use the apple and leaf and stem. So for each die, you get 3 foam shapes, and you get the acetates to go with them as well. So that is a ton of fruit shakers that you're able to make. There's also an entire stamp set. These are clear acrylic stamps, and they have some really cute pun statements like "you are awesome to the core." There's also those epoxies. They come in 3 sizes and colors, and you get what used to be raindrops but are now seeds. That's in clear and black, some twine in yellow, green, and red and white as well, and then all of these toppings. So this is the lemons, oranges, you get strawberries, grapefruits here. There are watermelons. I love the watermelons. They have the little seeds on them. They're absolutely adorable. Pears, apples, and I just want to show you how cute the apples are. They have 2 different hues on them, the kind of red and yellow. And then I think these are the limes. You also get a 6x6 matte stack. It's called Fruit Basket. And these are double-sided sheets, but you get 4 of each. So don't worry about not wanting to use one side or the other. You get to use both sides of all of them. And they have some very versatile patterns as well as some very fruit themed patterns. So I've taken 2 pieces from the matte stack and cut them into 2 different size rectangles, and I'm going to layer those on top of each other. I punched out a circle from the pattern paper, and I'm going to put that down on my card panel here. This way, when I layer the foam shape over it, you're going to see that behind it instead of that more busy pattern paper. So I'm going to layer my round foam shape by taking off the backing and putting it on there. I'm going to use a little bit of anti-static powder on the inside of that foam. This way my shaker bits don't stick to the edge. Then I'm going to put some of the oranges inside, and just for a little bit of contrast, I'm going to put some of the lemons too. I know that's, mixing fruits, but I really like the way the orange and the lemon look in relation to that turquoise in the background. Now I'm going to peel off the top protective layer and put the acetate on top. Again, that is die cut perfectly to fit your shaker. I'm going to use a little bit of tape runner to adhere the die that I cut out. That's going to cover up that white foam and also give you the cross sections. So I think that is a super cute little orange shaker. I'm going to layer this over a traditional 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 note card. It is top folding, and then I'm going to work on my sentiment. So I grabbed Orange You Just the Sweetest, and I'm going to stamp and heat emboss this. So I've put some anti-static powder tool, and I'm stamping it with some embossing ink. And once I have that done, I'm going to pour some white embossing powder over top and cover that all up, tap off the excess, and then I'm going to use my heat tool to melt the embossing powder. Now I've die cut that sentiment down into the same shape as the smaller rectangle pattern paper. So I'm going to use some tape runner and just adhere it right on top. You can see that it fits perfectly there. I also grabbed one of the little slices of the orange when I cut out the die out of cardstock, and I thought that would be a cute little embellishment on the side of the sentiment there, but I'm going to first pop it up on some foam tape. And once that's done, it's going to be a little three-dimensional element, but I also want to add some sparkle and shine. So I'm adding some Nuvo jewel drops. I didn't have the orange color, so I thought the yellow would be fine because these jewel drops are translucent, so I think it will absolutely look adorable. Now, they do say if you use it in a larger area than just dots that they may crack. I'm okay with that on a fruit slice. I think that would add texture and look just fine. But just to let you know that unless you're just adding dots like I am now around the orange, you may see some cracking in your jewel drops. So now I want to work on the other side of the sentiment and add some of these epoxy dots. So I'm putting a few by the orange slice, and then I'm going to place a few on the other side as well. And I really like these epoxy dots. They're not as high as maybe some traditional enamel dots, and I think that that's really great for cards that are going through the mail, and it just doesn't add any extra bulk or weight. So now I'm going to take a little piece of the yellow and white twine and tie it into a tiny little bow there, and then just trim off the edge. And I'm going to adhere that down right onto the left-hand side of the sentiment. I'm just going to fuss around with the bow and the strings a little bit just to get it just right. And then once I'm ready to adhere that, I'm going to grab some Ranger Multi-Medium Matte and put down a little dot of it right there in between those two enamel dots and lay the little bow right down on top, and that will adhere my card. So there's the shaker. I decided that I wanted a little green up top as well. So, we have lemon and orange trees around here, and so when you get them from friends, they always have the little leaves on them, and I think they're so beautiful that way. So just added a couple of the leaves from the apple die and put them right there on top. Okay, for the second card, I have a piece of the pattern paper cut into 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and then I've die cut a piece of teal cardstock, and that's where my shaker is going to go. That's going to house kind of the shaker area there. So I've also die cut out the strawberry out of pattern paper from the mat stack, and then I cut out the stem, and I cut out actually 3 of the stems. I wasn't sure if I was going to layer them or not, and I'm just going to ink just a little bit around the edges of one of the stems, and then the strawberry frame, which is going to go on top of the acetate of the shaker. So I think that just adds a really nice touch. It gives it a little bit of depth and dimension. You don't have to do this step if you don't want to. Sometimes I think it just makes the shaker pop even more if you have some inked edges. So now I'm going to lay down the base of the strawberry on that teal cardstock, and I decided I kind of wanted it tilted, so I did that. And I'm going to pop out that center of the foam shape and then just use that frame there to create the shaker. And you do have to kind of work to line it up, so just make sure that everything's lined up, and then use your powder tool, the anti-static powder tool on the edges just to make sure your toppings don't stick. Then I'm going to add some of those little strawberries, but before I do that, I decided I would put some of the epoxy dots right inside. You won't be able to tell when you're looking at the shaker whether or not things are adhered down or if they're just shaking around, and I think that that will add a little bit of extra shine and dimension inside my shaker and just kind of mix things up a little bit. So it's just another way, if you don't have a lot of toppings left, to extend your shakers. Okay, now I have the acetate that matches the strawberry. I'm going to peel off the top protective layer and lay down the acetate. Now, I didn't do a great job here. I kind of messed up and it's a little off center. That's okay as long as it's covering all of the opening. Then you can just trim off the little excess edge there. So you get plenty to cover edge to edge, but if you do it slightly off center, that's just how you fix it. Now I'm going to put a little tape runner on the frame that we die cut and play that right on top, and that also needs to be lined up or you'll see that white foam sticking out. Now I'm trying to figure out, do I want to use 1 stem or 3 stems? And you can see that when I layer them up, I really like the way that dimension looks on top of the strawberry. So I decide that I do want to use all 3. So what I'm going to do is just use a little tape runner and just layer them right on top of each other. And I'm just creating a dimensional stem here, and then that has the inking on the top layer as well. Now I'm going to put some adhesive on the back, but just on the base of the stem. I don't want any on the stem that's sticking out because I don't want it to inadvertently adhere to the card. So there we go. It lines up perfectly on the strawberry. Now it's time for the sentiment. And I decided to use I Just Love You Very Much. I like that one a lot. It's really cute. So I'm putting some anti-static on black cardstock. And then I'm going to stamp my sentiment with embossing ink. Again, this is that clear ink. And I'm going to line it up in the middle of this black cardstock. I was thinking I was going to cut a banner, but you'll see I decide to do otherwise. So now I'm going to layer some white embossing powder on top and tap off the excess. I saw a few spots that were missed, so I put some more on top and then tapped it off again. So I decided to stretch the sentiment from end to end, and I'm going to pop it up on some foam adhesive. So I just really like the way that looked. I decided not to go banner this time. Now I'm going to tie a little bow right around the stem of the strawberry. So I'm going to take some of the green and white twine, and you can see that because we layered up that stem 3 pieces of cardstock, it's actually really easy to tie a bow right around it. It stays still and pretty sturdy, and really all I'm doing here is fussing with the length of the tails and the bows, and so this was really easy to do, and I think it adds a really homespun touch to that shaker. So once that's done, I think my card is pretty much done except for some enamel dots. And I looked at the strawberries, but I decided just to go for the red and the green enamel dots there on the sides. And they kind of look like little buttons. I thought they were super cute, or little droplets. So these are really easy to use because they're self-adhesive, and they have a ton in here. I still have a ton left for all my other cards. Now I'm going to use some tape runner, and I have a top folding 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch note card. So I'm just going to adhere that whole panel down to my note card, and that pretty much completes my second shaker. These were done in a matter of minutes, and I just love the bright summer colors. I think they look absolutely delicious. I hope you will check out the kit. We'll have a link to that down below. And I want to thank you so much for stopping by today. Have a great day.